First off, looks like it's football season. So we're excited to have you all here. Excited about this day and this next season, especially opening up in the new Pac-12. It's exciting times, and we look forward to an incredible year. History will be made here in a few months, a few weeks, and we're excited about just everything going on. So look forward to answering your questions, but appreciate you all coming.
Hey, Cam. Eric Franson with 106.9 The Fan. Moving into the Pac-12, you set some pretty aggressive fundraising goals to get before the school officially came in, and then you said there was another opportunity for even more in the month of July. How was that accomplished, and how would those funds be used as Utah State makes this transition now into the Pac-12?
Yeah, so tremendous shout out to our team that really just worked their tails off over the last 6 months to make those happen. Also incredibly appreciative of the campus and community support. Feel like our donors and everybody really stepped up. And so we'll be doing some releases about those and kind of what all was achieved. But for the most part, I think we got every single one of our 6-month goals accomplished. And really it was kind of through July, because we started that in February. And so we run to August 1. We're well on our way and have even clipped off some of the 18-month goals. And so that was never set in stone. We keep adapting and bumping numbers up. So really excited about that. Where we'll use that is we're going to try and be strategic as possible to use that in the places that impact winning the most. If it's going into facilities, we're looking at what's impacting student athlete experience from a wellness standpoint or from a competitive standpoint. And then the other side on facilities is looking at does this create more revenue? Premium spaces. So those are kind of where we're prioritizing things for now. Student athlete experience, competitiveness, and then can we turn this money into more money is kind of how we're looking at it.
Jenna Fink from KUTV. From your perspective, what will define a successful football season?
So having been a part of a lot of different football seasons, and in evaluating coaches and teams is really interesting. And what I never want to be is an athletic director that judges based off one game or one outcome, right? There's so many things that happen into a season. I think for a competitive, for a successful football season for us, are we continuing to build and continuing to grow our program in a way that not only gives us success now, but gives us success in the long term? I don't think we want, it does us no good to win 9 games this year, only to win 3 next year. We have to continue building and staying process driven. So I'm probably more concerned about the process than I am the outcomes. At the same time, though, I expect us to compete and have a shot in every game. I think that we are at that level where we're going to be very competitive in this new conference. The margins in this conference, I think, are going to be incredibly slim. I think there was a widening. There were some teams you could count on getting some W's against, and then some teams that maybe you were like, I'm not sure. And I think this conference is very condensed. The gap from top to bottom is incredibly narrow. So I think you're going to be in every football game, and how you execute down the fourth quarter is probably going to be the determinant of the game. At the same time, there's not a set number. It's not like, oh, if we win 8, we're good, but if we somehow win 7, we're not. It's about process, and are we building, and are we putting this program in a position where it'll be sustainable and able to compete for championships as we move forward.
Hi, my name's Carson Hilton. I'm with the Deseret News. Can you kind of talk about, the first 6 weeks or so is a pretty tough schedule, especially that back-to-back against Utah and Washington. Can you just kind of talk about the philosophy of using that non-conference schedule to kind of schedule those really tough games and what that could do for the program?
Yeah. And only one of the 6 games was I involved with any part of scheduling in that, and that's Troy for homecoming. So I'm not sure in putting together schedules if this is exactly how I would have done it. At the same time, I don't know what was available and I wasn't scheduling, so not a second guessing. But it's brutal. It's an incredibly difficult schedule. And yet, I think our team's up for the task just based off resiliency. To go through a gauntlet like that, you've got to be resilient and committed to each other. And that's the culture that Bronco's building. So I think despite it being an incredibly difficult schedule, I think we're as well equipped as any team in the country from a physicality and mentality standpoint to deal with that. So I'm excited to see how we perform. My job is easy. I won't get tackled during the first 6 games. I hope not. And so it'll be up to them, but I'm excited to see them come together and perform through that stretch. But I think we see it all across the country, people talking about how difficult Utah State's schedule is. And it's true. It's very difficult.
So Jason Walker with Cash Valley Daily. Just with the eligibility has kind of been all over the place. There's the new 5-and-5. Then there's recent lawsuits where players are trying to get that 5th year who weren't going to get it. How much has that impacted the athletic department across all sports, trying to figure out who's eligible, who's not, who might be eligible? Can we maybe go after somebody who suddenly became eligible? Just how's that been for the athletic department?
I mean, exactly how you just outlined it. Are we eligible? Are we not eligible? Who's eligible? I mean, I got administrators that are pushing for 10 for 10 so they can come back and play. It's chaos. At some point, we're going to have to get more proactive and think about what do we want this to look like long term. I know that the Protect Act made solid progress over the weekend. It was dead on Thursday and it's like a zombie. It came back alive on Saturday. And so we'll see what happens with that. College sports is really, really important. I think it's important not just to this community in this state. I think it's important to this country. It's something that sets us apart. At some point, we've got to come up with a foundation and system that has some stability and longevity to it. We've got to get proactive and think about what that looks like. And it might be something we're uncomfortable with now, but that in 20 years looks pretty good. And we've got to push towards a solution that has some sustainability because to your point, Jason, what we're doing now is chaos. I mean, the poor compliance people are just pulling their hair out trying to figure out what way's up because what was a hard and fast rule last Thursday was no longer a rule on Friday. And yet we're not sure how the NCAA is reacting to that and how they're going to enforce it. And are they going to appeal? And so you're just in these moments of pause and not knowing what action to do. And yet if you do pause, somebody else has a competitive advantage of you because they moved. And so at some point we've got to come up with a system that's sustainable and has some longevity to it. I think there's solutions out there. We won't spend all day on that today, but we've got to harness this together because it's not sustainable and it's not doable. It puts administrators and coaches in terrible positions.
Carson Frost with the Herald Journal. You kind of alluded to it earlier, but Bronco has talked a lot about how culture precedes things like wins and success. What were some things you noticed in year one that convinced you that this program's heading in the right direction?
It's in small things. It's in the way the team communicates with each other, not just on the field in games or in practice, but on a bus ride or on a plane. It's the way they pull together. It's the way they react after a loss. UNLV was a tough locker room last year. Tough. But you find out what you're made of. And you find out the way you compete the next week. The second half at Fresno, the way that team pulled together and reacted there. There's just moments where you see what they're building and how they react to certain situations. And I think sports is just like life. We can't always control what happens to us or the circumstances, right? There's a turnover, there's a bad call, there's all sorts of situations that happen, but it's really interesting and tells you a lot about a team of how they react to those stimuli. And I think that how they reacted told me we're building in an incredible way, and how they are the same in all aspects of what they're doing, I think makes me think that it's a foundation that can really be built upon.
Brian Priest, KSLSports.com. Taking a look at the bigger picture of the new league and the Pac-12, it's kind of a fresh start for every program that's joining the league. So how can Utah State set itself apart and kind of create, I guess the phrasing might be a gold standard for the Pac-12 going forward?
Yeah, obviously winning helps with that quite a bit. And so coming out and competing for championships and kind of everything we're doing is a huge part of that. I think also, though, highlighting who we are. This is an incredible place. We've had incredible success. I think we have to do a better job of telling our story. We've accomplished a lot of incredible things here from an athletic standpoint. I think we've got to do a good job of doing that, a better job of telling that story. But I think also, I think we also have to really commit to who we are. We are a college town in Cache Valley. This is a tough place with tough people that are committed, that are committed to this university. We're a part of a thriving university that has incredible student life and student activity. I tell people all the time, it's like you took a time machine and went back in time. All of the good things that you want on a college campus, that's what we have here. That's what we have. All the good things, when I talk to new people and they tell me, what's the community like? And I'm like, it's like you went back to the Sandlot era. Like it's this time, it's back in time, in the best ways. It's still progressive and advanced and doing tons of cool things from a community standpoint and university standpoint. But I think we have to lean into who we are. I do think we're unique in this conference. And I think we have to lean into those things that make us unique. But at the same time, winning a whole lot will help with that.